In this video, we'll be walking through the clincalc.com website for taking an Excel document and generating ASCVD values for patient data. So step one is to load an Excel file. If you want, on the clincalc.com website, there is an example file, although you can use any format that you'd like. So in this case, we have the ASCVD_example data.xlsx or Excel document. We're going to scroll down to step 2 here. So you can see that in this Excel document, there's 5 rows of patient data. And what we need to do is tell the website which columns in the Excel document correspond to items that are important for the ASCVD calculation. So for example, sex is one column, and in that Excel document, we have a column just called sex. So we'll specify that. And then we have to say what encodes a male value. So in this case, in that Excel document, a male value is 1, although for your purposes, you may have encoded male as some other value. Age is the next one, and we have a column in the Excel document called age. Race is the next one. We have race. And in that Excel document, race is encoded as black is 1, and then all other numbers in that column, if it's not 1, means a non-black race. So 2 could be Caucasian, 3 could be Asian, something like that. For total cholesterol, we have a total cholesterol value. For HDL cholesterol, we have our HDL value. Now, if your institution is using SI units, then you're going to want to use a strap-down menu here to pick millimoles per liter for your cholesterol units. But in the United States, it's more typical to use milligrams per deciliter, so we'll keep that there. Systolic blood pressure is the systolic BP column. And then there's 3 basically yes/no variables in the Excel document. The first is the patient currently receiving treatment for hypertension? And so we have anti-HTN as our column here. And if it's 0, that means the patient is not getting antihypertensive treatment. And then any other value is going to encode as if they are. Is the patient diabetic or not? So we're going to pick the diabetic column. And in this case, again, 0 means no. And then finally, smoker. Is the patient an active smoker or not? Again, 0 means no, the patient is not an active smoker. And then all other values are going to be treated by the ASCVD calculation as if the patient is a smoker, as an example. So from here, we're going to hit the Generate ASCVD Values button. And what's going to happen here is go ahead and read the warnings here. That's important. But what we'll see is this is the Excel spreadsheet here with all of our data points. And then on the right here, these are the 2 generated columns that have been generated by the website. So for example, in row 1, this patient number 1, their ASCVD value is 0.047 or 4.7%. And what we need to do then is validate to make sure that what we've already put in step number 2 is correctly calculating the ASCVD calculation for this patient. So what you would need to do is use the clincalc.com ASCVD calculation or the American College of Cardiology calculation and make sure that you agree that this patient data should generate a 4.7% ASCVD risk. If it doesn't, then you may have made a mistake in step 2 and you need to go back. Now, as it says here, ideally you want to test 4 kinds of patients from your Excel spreadsheet: a black male, black female, non-black male, non-black female. The reason is that those 4 categories have very different calculation approaches, and you need to make sure that that is valid. Now, the other column that is generated is this ASCVD warnings column. Now, for all of the data points that goes in to the ASCVD calculation, that calculation has minimums and maximums that are appropriate. So for example, for age, theoretically for the calculation to be accurate, your age needs to be between 40 and 79 years old. So in this last patient data here, row number 5, you can see the patient's 39 years of age. So technically, we really shouldn't be calculating an ASCVD calculation for a 39-year-old. But if you really needed to have a value, what the calculator will do then is they'll actually pick 40 for the age. And then you'll have this warning here that says that the patient was less than 40. Therefore, an age of 40 was used because that's what's valid for the ASCVD calculation. Now, for your own purposes, depending on why you're using this calculation tool, you may choose to go through and in your Excel document delete those patients or give them some other value, or you can retain the value of, in this case, 1.5%. Now, to make sure that you're getting the data in a format that you can use for your research project or whatever reason that you're using this tool for, you're going to want to click this button that says Download Sample File. And what will happen is, we'll just go ahead and download it here. What will happen is you're going to be able to see what your data looks like, just like that table. And this is basically to ensure that the format that you're going to receive these two columns in, the ASCVD and the ASCVD warning columns, are appropriate for your project. So all we're really doing here is generating an Excel document with these two columns added onto it. Now that looks good for us. So if you're happy with everything, then you need to go ahead and make a purchase to have the full Excel document downloaded. So you could have hundreds or thousands of rows of your Excel document that would have ASCVD values generated. So we'll go ahead and type in our credit card number, just using some fake data here. And then what's going to happen is when we hit the pay button, it's going to take a second to process our payment. And we're going to get what's called a download token identifier, which is right here. Now, that token can be used at any time. For the most part, you're going to just use it right now. You can see that that's been populated in this field here. Now, this is a one-time use token, which means that you can use this one time to download your full non-sample document. So we're going to go ahead and hit Download File now. Now, once you've downloaded your file, you should have those two new columns that are showing the ASCVD and ASCVD warning columns that would be identical to that sample file, except all of the rows will be shown as opposed to the first 5 rows. And at that point, you're done. But if you do have any questions, please contact us, contact@clincalc.com, whether it's because you have a unique situation with your Excel document and would be happy to work with you, or if you have any billing or download token problems, just let us know.